Hey guys, this is Arun,
And this is Abby.
and welcome back to a brand new episode of Fill Your Pockets. Today's episode will be Friday, August the 20th. Quick recap of yesterday's games. Yesterday we had one play on our Instagram page. We went 0-1. We had a parlay bet, Yankees and Brewers. The Yankees ended up winning their matchup against the Twins, but the Brewers ended up losing their matchup against the Cardinals 4-8. Right now for the season, 18 and 17, still above 500, still in the green. We've been having a bad few last days. These last 3 days, just bad luck. Hopefully we could bounce back to end this week strong, and that's our goal here today. Abhishek, yesterday's plays, Yankees, Brewers. Yankees ended up winning against the Twins, but the Brewers, I know that game kind of pissed you off, I bet. But if you want, quickly recap these games from yesterday, these plays.
Yep, Rooney summed it up perfectly. Twins, Yankees, six out. The score was 6-0. Game was over. Twins made a little bit of a comeback, made it 4-6, and then Stanton hit the homer 4-7, gave some more distance between the two, closed it out. Fairly easy win. Never sweated that game. And then we went over to the Brewers in St. Louis. Brewers were down one, nothing crazy. They scored four straight, 4-1. I thought, okay, here we go. Woodruff, he's cruising through 4 innings, and then boom, he just loses it. I don't know what happened to him. He just lost. His first inning was dicey, but he got out of it. Gave up 1 run. Second inning, nothing. Third inning, nothing. Fourth inning, 2 outs, two guys on, and he just gave a moonshot to O'Neill, and that shit just went south after that. And it is what it is. Yeah, we clearly wrong about that game, and that's why we lost. And we're not just having bad luck in terms of losing, because you're gonna lose. We know that you're gonna lose. You're gonna win. Start off the week 16-10, great start. Now it's 18-17. We're not just getting bad luck in terms of the games, but some of the games we're actually picking, we're not even being able to put them out there. For example, Seattle yesterday, we went over that game. Seattle wins. Tampa Bay -1.5. You could have picked Tampa Bay -4.5 and won that shit, but obviously early games kind of hard to communicate with everyone and put that information out there besides the podcast, but it is what it is. You live with the 18-17. We're not even close to the end. And like I said in our post today, we acknowledge our losses. We're not bitches. We're not cowards. When you lose, own up to it, which we are, because that's how it is. When you win, look at me, look at me, look at me. When you lose, oh, I'm hiding in a cave. No, that's not how this works. There's so many people out there that only post winnings, and that's called fake shit. We're not doing that. 18-17, not great, not terrible, and now we start again today.
All right, so let's start this Friday off right. Hopefully, we can win some bets today, carry that momentum on to next week. But for today, we have 4 games for today's slate. The first game of today will be at 7 o'clock. The Atlanta Braves will be taking on the Baltimore Orioles. It's the first game of the season series, first of three. Right now, the odds for the Atlanta Braves opened up at -210. Right now, sitting at -250. The Baltimore Orioles, they're on a crazy losing streak, 14, 15 game losing streak. So uh, they are obviously the underdogs in this game, sitting at +200 odds for this matchup. Abhishek, first matchup of the day, Braves taking on the Orioles. What you got?
Oh my God, we could have this. These two are on two polar opposite ends. Obviously, we don't want to be the guys that pick on the bad teams, but that's how it. Listen, man, they're bad for a reason. They keep losing for a reason. So why not pick the other team? Let's start off with the road team here, Atlanta. There are three teams right now that are as hot as grease right now, and that's the Atlanta Braves, which we're gonna go over, the LA Dodgers, and the New York Yankees. Those three teams are the hottest teams in baseball as of right now for at least the past month. So what's so good about Atlanta? Obviously, all the moves they made at the trade deadline. They lost their best player. They acted on the fly. They readjusted, and now they're 4 games ahead of any team in that division. The Phillies, another team we're gonna get into later on today in this episode. They're falling. The Mets are falling, and the Braves are just skyrocketing. I think it's the Braves' division to win, but they still got to play the games. They still have to win. So the Braves, 6 straight W's, phenomenal. 9-1 their last 10. Max Fried, who is their pitcher today, he is basically their ace. He's their best pitcher right now. If you had to name one, he has a 2.3 ERA in his last 7, which is phenomenal. Less than 2 runs a game allowed in his last 7. He's pitching like how he pitched last year when he was one of the best pitchers in baseball. This year he started off kind of rough, got injured, found his after All-Star break, found his rhythm back, and now he looks like he's in top tier form. Last 3 starts, he's not just pitching well, he's pitching deep into games. You have to pitch deep into games. You need to try to give your bullpen relief pitchers as much rest possible because you don't want to start having to rely on them so much. Last 3 starts, 6+ innings, and in all those 3 starts, he hasn't given up more than 1 run allowed. All W's, obviously. They've won all 3 of those games. They're in a groove, 9-1 in their last 10. They're scoring. They're playing great defense. Their pitching is great. And that's why Atlanta is in the situation they're in right now. Now we get into Baltimore. Oh, my God. 14 straight losses. This is their second losing streak of 14 or more plus this season. That's insane. I hate to pick on them, but they've been bad for a couple of years now. I don't know they have a couple players, Cedric Mullins, John Means, Mountcastle, and a couple other players. I guess they could say, okay, we can build around them going forward. But right now, it's not looking good at all. They're just getting killed. They're not just losing. They're getting killed. They're losing almost every game by multiple runs. And today, I don't think it's going to get any better. The pitcher for today is Atkins. This guy, man, I don't know why he's still pitching as a starter. I've never seen pitching like this before. He has a 12.7. I've never, ever given out information on a pitcher whose ERA is 12.7 in his last 7 starts, which basically means, for anyone that doesn't understand that, when he pitches his earned run average when he starts, he's giving up on average 12.6 runs if he pitched like 6 innings or more. That's what they're basically saying. And his last 7 starts, they've lost all of them. So there's nothing here that points to the Baltimore Orioles except for God striking lightning on Atlanta. That's it. Like, even if Max Fried has his worst start like ever, they still should win this game because of who's pitching for Baltimore. So with that said, I don't need to say it, but I think you basically get the message. Atlanta Braves are clearly going to be the pick here. Minus 255 is obviously too much for a straight bet, but you can parlay that, which we may do, or minus 1.5, which is very enticing run line to take this game. And I think minus 130. I don't know what it is, Arun. If you could double check what
The
the
run line?
run line for this.
It is about minus 130.
So there you
Minus
go.
140.
That's tremendous value. So either run line or parlay, but Atlanta is definitely going to be a team we pick, and I hope you guys all pick today to win the game.
All right. Moving on to our second game of the night. We have another 7 o'clock game. We have the Minnesota Twins taking on the New York Yankees. Right now, the Yankees are leading the season series 3-1. Right now, the Yankees looks like they're the hottest team in the league right now. I just started watching or following baseball, and the Yankees have been outright just on fire. But right now, the odds, they opened up for the Yankees minus 160. Since then, they have moved all the way up to minus 235. This line has moved a lot. The Twins are sitting at plus 190 value. Abhishek, second game of the day. Twins taking on the Yankees. Who you got?
All right, so obviously this is game 2 of the series. Yesterday was game 1. The Yankees were dominating that game. Like we mentioned earlier in our recap, the Twins fought back, but the Yankees prevailed. The good thing I would say for the Yankees is that they didn't even have to use their best closer in this matchup. Loizaga, he's getting a couple of days of rest because he pitched 30 pitches plus against the Red Sox a couple of days ago. So that's good for them. Now we get into today. The Twins The Twins are basically rebuilding their entire pitching staff. They traded away Berrios. Pineda is hurt. Kenta Maeda is the only veteran left, really. So what they're doing is giving all these young pitchers a chance. And another one is going to pitch for them today, Barnes. This is his third start of his career. No, fourth start of his career. Uh, he did pitch extremely well his last start against the Rays, which is a tough task. He was at home. That was his first home start. So, a major league pitcher, rookie pitcher, first start at home, probably felt extra motivated. So you never know. Plus that day that Rays pitching wasn't great either. So they didn't score that much. But all I'm going to say is on the road, he started twice. They've lost both those starts. One to Detroit, one to Cincinnati. So this is the New York Yankees and the hottest team in baseball with the Braves and LA Dodgers, as I mentioned prior. But like I mentioned, Charlie Brown is his name, I think. Barnes, my bad. 4-star. He's a lefty. But the Yankees actually early on in the season, the Yankees were pretty awful against lefties. But recently, they've done a much better job against them. And one thing about the Twins is they are one of the worst teams in baseball scoring against lefties. They are 13-27 against left-handing pitching. And that's where we get into the Yankees. Their pitcher today, Nestor Cortez Jr. Sorry if I'm getting his name wrong. He's pitching for them today. He's a lefty. We're going to get into him in a bit. But before we get into that, Yankees, we have to top our hat off to them. 7 straight W's. They were getting killed early on in the season. The Yankees suck. They're so bad. They can't hit. They can't pitch. They can't do anything. They can't play defense. They can't score with guys on base. And look how all that has changed now at the perfect time in August, end of August, right when the playoffs are right around the corner. 7 straight W's, as Arun mentioned. They're one of the hottest teams in baseball, if not the hottest. 8-2 in their last 10. To be honest, the only loss they had was against the White Sox in that miracle finish. So they could this winning streak could be even bigger. Nestor Cortez, like I mentioned, he's pitching for them today. He was a guy who wasn't a starting pitcher for the past couple of years, but with all the injuries, they asked him to do so. And first, he started off pitching 1 inning, then 2, then 3, then 4, then 5. And now his latest start on the road against the White Sox, a very, very dangerous lineup. He went 6 innings, gave up 1 run, 98 pitches. So he is now comfortable going deep into games and going probably well over 100 pitches now. So that's what I would expect in this start, that they need him to go 5, 6, maybe even 7 innings. And in his 6 starts, he started 6 times for them this season. They're 5-1 in those 6 starts. And they have not lost when he's pitched at home as a starter. So that's phenomenal. The Twins are disgusting against lefties, as I mentioned, 13-27. That is real bad. I would like to know. I didn't look it up, but what the 13 wins are, who are they against? But that goes without saying. As Arun mentioned, the line opened at -60, 160. That would have been tremendous value. Obviously, the line has gone up now. So -225, -230, as Arun mentioned. Too heavy to play money line, but parlay, run line. The run line is what, Arun? -130, I would assume.
Let me see. Yeah, -130.
130. So just like the Braves, I will say this. I feel much more comfortable taking the run line for the Braves than the Yankees because, as we saw yesterday, the Yankees are up 6-0, and then, they crept back in there. Minnesota is way better than Baltimore, and Minnesota has been playing decent. They're 6-4 in their last 10, nothing crazy, but not bad. And there is a little bit of the unknown because the Twins pitcher today, he has pitched 3 times, but he hasn't pitched that much. So you never know because he's a rookie. You don't know how he's going to handle it. New York, he's coming to New York, Yankee Stadium, how that's going to be. But we will find a way to pick the Yankees because the Yankees should definitely be the play in the situation.
All right. So moving on to the next game of the slate, we have the Arizona Diamondbacks taking on the Colorado Rockies. Right now, the Rockies are leading the season series 7-6. Don't look now, but the Diamondbacks are on a 3-game win streak. I know they're a pretty bad team in the
Yeah,
MLB,
yes,
but
sir.
yeah, but they're on a little 3-game win streak.
Yep.
Let's go to the odds. Colorado, the Rockies opened up at minus 170. Now they're sitting at minus 195. This line has also moved. Arizona sitting at plus value, plus 165. Abhishek Diamondbacks taking on the Rockies, 8:40 Eastern time game. Who you got?
My favorite team to discuss, the Colorado Rockies. Never seen this shit before. These dudes at home, man, compared to the road, it's just amazing. But before that, we start off with Arizona. They have their young pitcher Gilbert pitching for them. He's coming off his first career start where he went 9 innings, no hitter, unbelievable. His first start, it was at home. He gave up a no hitter against the Padres. Phenomenal. What a way to debut your start in the majors. And as Arun mentioned, they've won 3 straight. They've actually won 6 out of 7. And for a team like Arizona, who has been awful the whole season, that's probably the best feeling they've had in a long time, winning 6 out of 7 games. But you have to look at it in context. They beat two of the teams that are struggling big time right now. I understand Arizona is awful, so it's kind of a contradiction. But in terms of how the teams have been playing, the Phillies have been awful recently, and they just can't hit. The Phillies are also an awful road team. The Padres, obviously Tatis came back, but the Padres have been awful themselves. They just got swept by Colorado. We're going to get into Colorado in a second. They got swept by Colorado. They are also an awful road team, and they were able to win only one of those games against Arizona. So, yes, top your head off to the Arizona Diamondbacks. 6 out of 7. Give them credit. They're professionals, and this is their, I guess, good period before the season ends for them. But those games were at home. On the road, they are 14-43. I think that's tied with the Rockies for the worst record in baseball on the road, if I'm not mistaken. They're up there in terms of the worst teams in baseball on the road. So now you're going from the comfort of your home to going to the most unique place to play, which is Denver, Colorado, Coors Field in the Rocky Stadium. Now we get into the Rockies. Gomber, his name Lefty, he's pitching for them. This man has been absolutely dominant at home. Just like the Rockies, just like him, dominant at home. They're 41-21 at home, obviously, as I mentioned. They have the best batting average at home. Think about that. The Dodgers, the Giants, the Yankees, the Red Sox, the Rays, the White Sox, the Houston Astros, all these teams out there, the Colorado freaking Rockies have the best batting average at home. That's insane. So you combine that with who's pitching with them for them today. Gomber, he just became a dad. I'm just a side note, father, first start since having a birth of his child. He might be feeling a little bit better. Usually it's times like this after a birthday or after like an accomplishment, after becoming a father or other news. You never know. Usually you get some spectacular performances. Even though without that, he's been phenomenal. He has a 1.7 ERA at home. Less than 2 runs allowed at home. On the road, it's 5.8. 6 runs. So that's 1/3 of what happens on the road. So I think this is clear as day. The line keeps moving, obviously, so hopefully it can go down a bit again. If this goes between minus 150 to minus 180, straight bet here is the play because, once again, the Rockies, their bullpen is awful. So those first 5 inning bets, they've been hitting. But in my opinion, Gomber, he usually goes 6, 7 innings. So they just came off of an off day. They had a day off yesterday, so they should be rested. And in my opinion, the Rockies, man, can you really bet against them at home? I don't think so.
All right, moving on to the last game in our slate. We have the Philadelphia Phillies taking on the San Diego Padres. It is a 10 o'clock Eastern time game. The Philadelphia Phillies right now are leading the season series 2-1. Um, the odds are the San Diego Padres are the favorites minus 210, and the Phillies are obviously the underdogs plus 175 underdogs. Abhishek, the last game of the slate, both teams are on a nice little losing streak. Who you got, man? The
Oh man,
Philadelphia
oh man, this is
Phillies
the
are
this is the funnest game in my opinion. This
okay.
is this somebody gotta win this shit. This is the game that I honestly, it's kind of crazy to think, but this is the game I'm most interested to watch because Philly, oh my god. I understand yesterday the Philadelphia Eagles played a preseason game, 35-0. It's preseason, don't mean shit. But I'm gonna talk about Philadelphia situation right now, man. Eagles football right now. Obviously preseason. I'm just kidding, but still, 35-0, man. That's pretty awful. Doesn't mean shit, but we're just pointing it out. And then the baseball team, holy shit, man. This team was on that little bit of a so-called run when they were hot, quote unquote. That's why you have to look at who the hell did they beat. They swept up. They beat the Pirates, they beat the Nationals, and then they beat the Mets. Congratulations. Then you play the Dodgers and got ass wiped. So the Phillies, they are what they are. They're an okay team. They were leading the division for a second, and then the Braves said, "Okay, thank you for keeping our seat warm. Now, can you move?" And then they took it over, and they're going to win the division now. The Phillies, they do have a lot of injuries in their lineup, but you got swept by Arizona, bro. You got swept. You didn't win a game. I don't think they scored more than 3 runs in any of the games that they played. They had their best pitcher pitching for them yesterday, Zach Wheeler. He got hit like a piñata against the Arizona Diamondbacks. You have got to be kidding me. So I understand the Padres also, they are struggling, but the Padres at home, they're 40-24. That is drastic difference compared to what they play on the road. They feel much more comfortable at home. They are also struggling, but their lineup is way more crazy and deadlier with Tatis, obviously, Machado, Frazier, Cronenworth, Pham, Nola, etc., compared to the Phillies lineup. Now we get into the pitching. Matt Moore for the Phillies. He had his first real good start last time he pitched against Cincinnati. I think he had a no-hitter going in for 6 innings. So he was pretty damn great for them. But I don't expect it to happen again. That was the one time this season he pitched really well. He hasn't even pitched that long into games usually. 6 innings was long for him. But now we get into the Padres. They're obviously 40-24 at home. Blake Snell is pitching for them. He has finally got his act together, in my opinion. He's been really good over his last 7 starts. And once again, another guy at home, he's just different than he is on the road. At home, he has been dominant. 2.4 ERA at home. And they are 7-2 in his home starts. So the Padres, they currently are 1.5 games ahead of the Reds, the wild card. They have got to start winning. This is a huge matchup for them. They have their so-called best pitcher pitching for them right now. Their lineup is healthy. They got a day off to rest. They're not on the road anymore. They're back at home. I just feel the Padres are the play here. The Phillies, man, they just got shut out yesterday by a lefty. Nearly shut out by a lefty yesterday. And they're going up against a lefty today who has even more crazy stuff with his pitches in Blake Snell. So, Philadelphia, man, y'all better be rooting for the Eagles to be decent this year because Philly baseball, it ain't looking too good. Philly basketball, Ben Simmons, we all know how that's going. I didn't want to say it, but we all know how that's going. At least he got Joel Embiid still. Better knock on wood that he don't get hurt. Knock on wood that he don't get hurt. And Philly, obviously the Eagles, you better pray to God that Jalen Hurts, he's the real deal. I do believe he is. I'm not trying to go on a tantrum here, but you know what it is. Phillies, oh, God bless you.
All right, guys. So make sure you tune into the IG page because we do plan on parlaying the Braves game with one of the other 3 games of the slate,
Nearly
and
all
we're
of these, most likely all of these games will be posted
yeah.
somehow.
So just make sure you tune into the Instagram page for the final picks and final say. Hope you guys have a lovely Friday. Hopefully we could finish this week strong and bounce back from these last few hectic days. And with that being said, hope you guys have a great weekend and happy gambling. Peace out.